McKenna, welcome. You guys, McKenna is an amazing individual. She's done pageant. She competed pretty heavily for pageants. She actually won Miss Utah in 2014. She competed for Miss America, did very well there. Was really engaged, big challenger. She loves the challenge. She's a go-getter. She's been married for almost 12 years. She has 4 kids. And she has a crazy story about how that life looks perfect on the outside, came crumbling down, and then rebirthed into some incredible things that led to her business with My Wonder Woman Journal and in-person therapy retreats called Use Your Wings Retreats. McKenna, welcome to the party.
Thank you for having me. This is anywhere I could reach women. I just love to be involved. So thanks for asking me to do this with you today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, okay, you have to tell us, I left a little bit of a bomb, but how did your journals, I mean, from pageant, marriage, 4 kids, and then journals, there was a bomb that went off. What happened?
So the bomb that went off was postpartum depression and anxiety. And that whole world opened up to me of not understanding how I was feeling, not knowing what was going on, and kind of feeling like I wasn't good enough. I was falling short. And I, after the birth of my 4th child, I suffered with extreme postpartum depression. Like I knew I had it in a minor way with some older kids, but it came crashing down after my 4th. And it was the moment where I started having suicidal thoughts, wanting to run into oncoming traffic, and ended up actually driving myself to the behavior hospital, where that was rock bottom for me, walking into the behavior hospital. So it was there where, sorry, that's my dog and the crazy life I have here.
It's life.
That when I was walking into the behavior hospital, I'm thinking, this is it. Like, this is what it's come down to. But it actually was like, when you hit rock bottom, what happens is you kind of you jump. And I felt like that was I hit rock bottom, but it was like a tramp. And it kind of, through therapy and going to a psychiatrist and doing all the necessary things, I found journaling. Yeah. And I remember the day I came home from the hospital, not the day, it was like the weekend happened. And then it was the first of the next week. And my neighbor came over and she was like, "Hey, McKenna," as the kids were playing. And she's like, "How was your weekend?" I'm like, "I was at the behavior hospital. How was your weekend?"
Just slide that in there.
She's like, "Wait, what?" And I'm like, "No, seriously." And I kind of like opened up and I told her everything. And then she opened up and reciprocated that and told me something that had happened to her in the past. And she had never told it to anyone. And I thought, I loved that conversation. Like, we cried together, but we laughed together. And I thought that brought, even though it was something that we would feel so embarrassed about, brought so much connection. Yeah. And I thought, oh my gosh. So I thought, okay, there's something there. I need to share my story. And it's like a family joke. Everyone teases me that they think I look like my Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman. They think I look like Wonder Woman. I don't see it, but it's like this ongoing family joke. And so as I was reading this book by Rewind, book by Ganel-Lyn Condie. She's an author here in Utah, about You're More Than Enough, You're Magnificent. She talks about how every woman's a Wonder Woman and we all need our own journal. And I thought, that's what it's going to be. First, it was just going to be a blog, me sharing my story to help connect women through postpartum depression and bring awareness to it. Yeah. And then as I took the next right step, Gabby Bernstein always says, the next right step clears the path, and so that kind of cleared the path to this whole new world. Wait, I should create a journal for every woman because every woman's a Wonder Woman. So that's kind of how it was born, was my Wonder Woman journal, because every woman needs to know that she's a Wonder Woman. So it's basically set up for women to know that they are already a Wonder Woman, and it's just to help them see the tools inside of them to be their best selves. So that's how it was born. And that's how it got into, was I found journaling. My first journal entry was the day I drove myself to the behavior hospital. And you would think, why are you embracing the heart and dwelling on the past? It's like, no, I'm embracing my journey and I'm owning my story. And it was so freeing in that moment. I thought, you know, the one that's part of being a Wonder Woman is embracing our heart. So that's kind of how it started.
I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it. And I love too that it's not about being super mom. It's not about doing everything. It's embracing who you already are.
And owning your story. And what's crazy is when you own your story, another woman goes, oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one. Whew,
yes.
I'm not alone. I'm like, nobody's perfect. Nobody has it all together. And it's okay to say today was hard, and embracing that is a Wonder Woman moment.
I love that.
One of the many Wonder Woman moments.
Yes. Okay. We have to clarify for just a second too, because I think, and I think this is part of your story, but you mentioned postpartum depression.
Yes.
And I think a lot of times people think like, oh, postpartum depression, baby blues, like that's the only problem. But you mentioned previously, like we're talking anxiety, rage, like some other things too.
Oh yeah. I thought, okay, so before, when I had postpartum depression after my second, I didn't realize I had it till I was kind of out of the fog. And I looked back and I go, whoa, you don't just have to want to shake your baby or jump into oncoming traffic to have postpartum depression. I wish I would have known that, because I could have got through the fog quicker. But I want women to know that through maternal mental health, the signs of everything. Because I think a lot of times as women, when I speak to other women, I'm realizing that it's very common that we feel on edge. We feel like we're going to snap at any second. And I just was always angry. Like, I just was always angry. And I'm like, I don't feel like I'm an angry person. I feel like, what is wrong with me? And then that's when I feel like I'm not good. Just this self-shame, just like pops in heavy. I'm not good enough. My husband deserves a more patient, kind, loving wife. Like my kids deserve a better mother. I'm ruining my children. And I realized, like, I didn't even know postpartum. No one ever told me about postpartum rage. But that's real, because when we try to suppress our thoughts and not embrace them, when they resurface, it's like a pot of boiling water. I explained that on my website. Like that's why I always felt like I was on simmer, and at any second I would just boil over. That like, it's okay to say I'm simmering right now, and you don't have to lose it. But when we suppress it, anything will set us off.
Yeah.
So
you blow up like on an instant.
And it was bad. Like, I never hit my kids. And I want women to know, if you did, like, I want you to know, like, I don't judge you. There's nothing you could do that would make me look at you any different, because you don't know until you experience it yourself, like compassion. And it's easy to say, I would never do that until you're actually fully in their life. You would never know. So just want women to know, like, you're okay if you did. I never did. I did chuck, like, you know, the big horse thing that kids ride, like the big horse, life-size horse thing. I chucked that down the stairs. The tramp day, I like drove myself to the behavior hospital. I threw a chair against the wall. I broke it. There was actually like a couple weeks prior, I like banged doors handles together and like broke the door handles. They're still broken. It's fine. It's fine. But you know, remember just holding my baby on my left hip and like banging the doors together with my right arm. And then just like sitting down and crying, because you feel out of control. I want you to know that you don't have to suffer. Like anxiety, intrusive thoughts, I didn't even think. I just thought, oh no, like I just worry a lot. No, intrusive thoughts are anxiety, like especially postpartum, like all these things, obsessive compulsive disorder. Like I would show up at the gym and I would go to the bathroom, the same bathroom stall, the way I got dressed, the way I like got on the stair stepper, got off the stair stepper, my calorie count. Like I was so like projecting it all into like different areas of my life, the way I ate. It was just like, I was in prison, and these are all things that women just realize, well, like, I'm happy. I'm just like really obsessed with the gym and I'm eating really. And it's like, come here. Those are also, you know, there's so many levels of postpartum depression, anxiety, OCD, and there's so many layers within each level and it doesn't look the same for every person. And to know that, it's okay. It's okay.
You're not broken. Most of us experience that. And I'm like you, like, I didn't realize that I experienced it until after the fact.
Absolutely.
And it's like, oh, that probably was postpartum depression. Whoops.
Oh, I'm like, even though I didn't want to run into oncoming traffic after my second and all these things, but I'm like, I never wanted to be home. I didn't want to be a mom. I wasn't engaging with my kids. There was such a disconnect, and I just thought, oh, motherhood's not for me. I'm not a natural born homemaker. I'm not like, I just didn't feel like it was for me. So, but then I look back and I'm like, oh, I missed out on so much. If I could have just realized, and I live with that, I'm working on releasing that guilt, because I look back, but it's hard. It's hard. Those are all signs of like not bonding or engaging with your kids, wanting to be home. Like those are all, you're okay. It's common. Just know you don't have to suffer alone.
Live with it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, if we could just share that with every newborn pregnant mom out there in the whole wide world, I feel like this would be so much better. Because you're right. Like feeling like you're not a good mom, feeling like you're not good at this, wishing that you hadn't done it, like completely normal.
Yeah.
And you don't have to live with that.
No.
Like, no, I love that. I love that. So you turned this moment into something powerful for you. And that was My Wonder Woman journal.
Yes.
And you've grown a lot since then. Did you see when you first started and had that mindset, oh, maybe I'll make this for other people? Did you know your purpose? It's a big term going around right now, and see the vision, like, oh, I need my 5-year, 20-year vision from the beginning?
I hate the 5-year plan. My husband like loves the 5-year plan. I'm like, I don't do 5-year plan. I'm totally by the heart. And then like, oh, this takes me here. And I just listened to You Are the Guru by Gabrielle Bernstein. Is that her name? Bernstein.
Yeah, Gabby Bernstein.
Bernstein. Yeah. Inspired action clears the path. And it spoke to me. It was like, that's what articulating my thoughts like so perfectly. Cause I always tell people like, I just took the next right step, and it opened up another door, and then opened up another door, and opened up another door. I never, ever saw me having 4 different types of journals for women and girls, an academy for girls, running retreats, thinking about launching a podcast. I am launching one soon, launching a blog, starting a book, like all these things. I'm like, I never thought in that moment that when I said I should share my story that I ever saw. I just want women to know that like, you don't have to see the big picture. Like when I looked at women who started businesses, I'm like, oh, they are like motivated. I can't think to the next hour.
They're like planning years down the road. Where am I?
Just surviving the next moment. That it actually, that's how you find your purpose. God plants seeds in our lives, and the way we plant it and move forward and take the next inspired action, it clears the path. The way she says that, I like wrote it down. I'm like, that is so powerful, because every woman, every person on earth needs to know you just need to take the next right step. Isn't that what Anna says? And Elsa, like Frozen, your mom
right, in the second one, the next right step, when you're in the dark in the hole, just one step at a time.
Yeah, it was Grandpappy, the rock guy, like just take the next right step, And I'm like, it's so true. Like, it's so beautiful. Like, no, the answer to that question is absolutely not. No. But you find your power when you start to light it, like see the light. I don't know how to like articulate this analogy, but like, the second you recognize it and you lean into it, it's brighter than you even could imagine. And every person has a purpose and a power. And in retreats, I'm always like, step into your power.
Yeah. I love that. It's more about finding where is the light and go to it. Like lean toward it. Don't fight it. Don't think like, oh, but that's not what she did. That's not what McKenna did. I have to do what she did. Like,
you do what I did. No. No, and honestly, the journaling, I'm not this like avid journaler. Like, I'm not like, oh, I write everything down. I have like books of journals on my shelf and I'm just this perfect journaler. No, I found it's something tangible that I like to give to women as a tool to help have a call to action. This is a call to action. And this is something tangible to help you move forward. Did I invent the journal? No. Have I helped women do other journals and support other journal businesses? Yes, because they're all tools with a call to action of self-healing and help. And that's what's beautiful.
I love that so much. I love your mission and just everything that you do.
So
I mean, on the other side of it too, though, because a lot of times we worry a lot as we're trying to find that light and that passion. I think sometimes as moms, we worry like, oh no, but what if that takes me away from my family and my kids? What if I neglect my kids because I love it so much?
And I had those thoughts 100%. When I started this, my husband was so supportive. He's always so supportive, but he was really real with me about like, just keep perspective, like what's most important. I'm like, absolutely. He goes, but what's most important is our family. And we understand that mom's happiness makes our happy. When mom's happy, we're all happy. But I will say that in like being motivated with my job, wanting to grow, I want women to know that you don't have to wait to find your purpose. and be so, how do I say this? As women, I think we're just taught to serve, be a mom. That's all you're going to do. They're going to grow up and leave the house. Then you can bloom. No, you don't have to endure. You're not meant to endure life. You're meant to live life.
Yeah.
And that's being well-rounded. And I have found to come back to what I was talking about, like through wanting to grow, the more I grow, the more I want to grow, the more I crave it, the more I crave growth, the more I find myself being more intentional with my time. And I want women to know that I've been the most busy I've ever been in my life, but I have never felt more connected to my children. I have never felt more like have more time with my children, because when I'm working, I'm being intentional with my job. Okay, you can structure your schedule where when I'm with my kids, I put my phone down. I'm like, hey, I had my babysitter from this time to this time. She's gone. Now I'm a mom, and I have never cooked more dinners in my life. And I'm not a cook. Scott's like, what is this? Like, who is this?
Yeah.
I've never been gone so many nights in my life, like doing interviews like this. I'm doing these 2 to 3 times a month. But what's crazy is I want women to know that you don't have to wait to find purpose. And you don't have to do something huge to find purpose. Like if it's a hobby, like if you make time for that hobby, I promise you're going to come back a better mom. I promise you're going to come back and be more intentional with your time. You're going to miss your kids. It's healthy to miss your kids.
For you.
And guess what? It's healthy for your kids to miss you, because they're like, wait, where's mom? What's happening? You don't have to just endure. You can live life. And I want people to know that if you are intentional with your time and organize your time, like I have a color coordinated planner. Doesn't take a lot of work. It's called the Intentional Mom Planner. Actually, ironically, she's a Utah girl.
Really?
I love you, Tess. It's about being intentional with the way you plan dinners, the way you plan your time. I have a whole key. I color coordinate it. And I have never been more fulfilled as a mom and a woman in my life.
I love that. And I think one thing too is sometimes we project where we're at now onto where we think we want to go, right? So it's like if you're not managing your time very well now because you're bored out of your mind, right? You just imagine, well, I'll probably be bored over there too, maybe, and I'll manage it just as bad. But what you're saying is like you actually get more energy, you're more energized, you have more fun, and you get to be more intentional through the process.
Yeah. Even if it's like, okay, I care. You don't have to start a business. You don't have to. What if it's just creating? I had a business coach, and she's like, her name's Kylie Ann, and she was like, just creating 3 new habits through the next 8 weeks. It doesn't have to be this. Some women are like self-shame, like, I don't have a good idea. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. Just say, okay, my 3 new habits, business aside, have been organize 1 spot in my house a week, whether it's a drawer, whether it's just a tiny corner. I just did this corner. And, or I want to drink 64 ounces of water a day.
Yeah.
Just some small things to be intentional with, and you find yourself going, wow, like, look at me, I'm feeling purposeful. It's the next sometimes the smallest shifts create the biggest opportunities for you. You don't know where it's going to take you, but something small like that, being intentional with your time around the house, like, is purposeful.
Yeah. Well, and too, like, I think sometimes it's funny because I literally had this conversation with my son this morning, but like, you can be intentional with your downtime. Like
1,000%.
Don't hate the fact that you watch TV and like, because I think on moms, sometimes we get this pressure of like, you can never have downtime. Like, don't sit and watch TV. That's so unproductive. Right?
But like watching trash TV is so good for my brain sometimes. To not think.
It helps me feel good about my life when I watch trash TV.
So blessed. Like I watch The Bachelor and Bachelorette. I look at my husband, I'm like, I am so grateful for you. I love you so much.
Glad you're here. Right?
Yes.
I love that. I love like just little things at a time. You don't have to get rid of everything that you enjoy.
Or self-shame yourself in downtime. Downtimes where we also like, okay, I know I'm on this like Gabby Bernstein kick.
I love Gabby Bernstein. Go Gabby.
One of the other steps was in silence. I should find it, but it's about when we're still is when we receive inspiration. Like in that downtime, when we choose to connect or just be still is where we receive the most inspiration. When we calm our, that's how I think of journaling. Like when she was talking, I'm thinking, okay, that's how I think of journaling. Our hearts beat so fast because they're trying to keep up with all of our thoughts. That's where anxiety happens, like all these thoughts. But when you put pen to paper and you're still in meditation or prayer, whatever you do to connect, it slows the brain down. And our heart can go, oh, okay, now I can guide you. Now I can take you to where you're supposed to be, because we're our bridge where we can articulate thoughts and not feel scrambled or running on low. Like, it's how you find that connection. So in stillness, we receive, I think is what it is actually.
Yeah.
And in stillness through journaling, you can receive inspiration. So
I love it. It's always I don't know that I've read this one from Gabby, but I think at one point in my journey, it was that like, this is what be still and know that I am God means.
Yes,
like,
1,000%. Be still.
Yep.
We don't need to be going 1,000 miles an hour. And that's part of the Wonder Woman movement I'm trying to create is that's one of the Wonder Woman moments is our wins. So I talk about good moments, but they're celebrating our wins. Like in the depth of depression and anxiety, I couldn't get out of bed. And some of those days, my Wonder Woman moments were just breathing. I got up, got to take a shower. Those are wins. Those are moments that still deserve to be celebrated. That I'm alive. I am alive and I'm present and I'm here. But also learning to laugh at ourselves is huge, because we self-shame and we take life too serious.
So much.
Like sometimes those moments where we do something silly, like I always say, I drove off with the gas pump in my car twice in 6 weeks. It's true. Where I say, in those moments you would self-shame, like, oh my gosh, like, oh, I'm so stupid. I'm losing my mind. And some people would cry or whatever. And that's okay. That's also okay. But I want to say, like, when you take a step back and go, you know,
yeah.
Like I remember walking in the same gas station and going like, hey, it's me again. What's up?
I'm that
one. Like laughing at it actually helped lighten my load. So those are moments that we need as women. Like, it's okay to just laugh, like, and not self-shame. Like, we should be laughing more.
Yeah. Like, you're a human. It's okay.
Yeah. Who says it's a Brene Brown quote? You know, what is the human quote? Like the last thing we need is to be self-shamed for being human or something like that. Like, no, I don't need to be, I'm human. Like, okay. I'm
a human being. Congratulations.
I know this is going to come to a shock.
We all thought that I was above this, guys, but in fact, I am actually human.
Human. I know. Everyone thought I was like Wonder Woman. Just kidding.
Wonder Woman is, I mean, she's relatively human, right?
She's awesome. And I love what she stands for, love and light and stepping into your power. And I think that that's also really symbolic of the movement too, that I love.
Oh, McKenna, this has been so fun. Okay. So if people want to connect with you, where do they go?
Okay. So I have an IG handle, Instagram handle for those of you. It's My Wonder Woman Journal on Instagram and on my website, mywonderwomanjournal.com. And you'll see on there a little bit of my story, a little about how I got started. You'll see the Wonder Woman journal. You'll see a gratitude journal. You'll see a Wonder Girl journal and a soon to be a Wonder Girl Academy. And that goes into a program for girls to help them find their inner Wonder Girl. And then I also have a prompted journal for women as well. And if they want, there also is a tab for retreats. I run retreats for women. They're small. We keep them small. They fill out in days because, you know, it's a really powerful experience and
a good connecting point too.
What?
A good connecting point too.
It's really powerful what happens at retreat. I believe in the power of retreat and connection and women uplifting each other. There's a lot of power. There. So thank you for having me here. What you're doing is powerful and bringing women together. Like, I love watching women step into their power. So it's an honor to be a part of this. So thank you.
I'm so glad you're here. McKenna, you're awesome. My Wonder Woman journal, connect with her. She is super, super cool. Super fun. If you get to meet her in person, go to one of her retreats. Enjoy.
Bye guys.